And I can go ahead and get started and welcome everybody on. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Super excited for these midday webinars through Research Chefs Association. So welcome members, non-members, and students. And what I want to do is kind of give you some bios and some introductions for today's call. Again, if you want to put your camera on, if you don't, no problem there for attending, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But as a reminder, this is the art of snacking, unlocking almond versatility for feel-good snacking. And so this is the sponsored by Almond Board of California. Sorry, I'm trying to also click to invite people, but I'm trying really hard to do two things at once. So again, our speakers today are Charisse Grace. Charisse is the manager of trade marketing and stewardship for the Almond Board of California and is responsible for leading the execution of all food professional focused public relations and advertising tactics for North America. Charisse has more than 20 years of consumer packaged goods experience in brand marketing and business development, including roles at top manufacturers such as Bimbo Bakeries and Aspire Bakeries. She's a proud HBCU graduate with a bachelor's degree in marketing from Morgan State University and an MBA in international business from the University of Miami. In her spare time, Charisse enjoys rereading Jane Austen. That really made me feel like not the brightest one in the room. Working out, hiking, traveling the world, and she hopes to retire to a beach when time comes. I need to add some Jane Austen in there. So another speaker we have, Lauren Witham from Tastewise, and she is an account director there. So the AI-driven consumer data platform for the food and beverage industry. She's responsible for managing the strategic partnership and growth of Tastewise's largest customers, all while driving value and serving as a trusted advocate within the artificial intelligence and food and beverage space, which so many of us love on this call. Leveraging her deep understanding of bringing data-driven strategies to have real impact across innovation, marketing, and product development. Welcome, Lauren. And last but not least, Chef Jill Houk. So from information technology to the kitchen, Jill's journey showcases her unique blend of analytical skills and deep culinary knowledge. Currently serving as research and development chef for Culinary Culture, she develops products for retail and food service, as well as represents food company on sales calls and at trade shows. Her 20-year career has included roles as a health-focused caterer, personal chef, cookbook author, podcaster, television personality, product developer, and culinary director. Houk's work, I said it right.
You said it right the first time.
Okay,
you got it. Houk, just keep going.
Houk. Oh my gosh, it's me. It's my Georgia coming out. Works positively impacted countless food products across the nation, and she's dedicated to mentoring the next generation of chefs and product developers. She's a certified research chef and is active in the RCA. So welcome all three of you. And again, all of your mics were muted, and just so to not interrupt our speakers and whatnot, if you could just make sure they stay muted. And just want to introduce Charisse to start this presentation out. And if you have questions, please put them in the question and answer. So take it away.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. As was mentioned, my name is Charisse Grace with the Almond Board of California, and we are truly excited to have you all here today. So today, we are going to be talking about the art of snacking, which is all about unlocking almond versatility for feel-good snacking. And essentially, it's about how almonds can elevate your snacking experience, as well as serve as an inspiration for recipes and product developments. We're all about almonds here today. So what's up on the menu for today? First, we'll dive into some insights from Tastewise, and it's about consumer snacking habits. Then we'll have a wonderful, fun, and yummy recipe demonstration where you'll learn some neat almond snack ideas in action. and you'll see some great ideas in action. And of course, we'll save some time for your questions at the end. So I know we're about to get started. Some of you hopefully would have received a wonderful package in the mail today, so keep that handy as we get started. So thank you, and I will turn it over to Lauren.
Fantastic. So let's dive into some consumer snacking habits with Tastewise. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm Lauren Witham, account director here at Tastewise, and we're thrilled to partner with the team today for today's session on the art of snacking. So today I'll be walking through the key consumer insights, shaping snacking behaviors, highlighting why and where almonds can really shine, using real-time data across consumer conversations. And then we'll move into a deep dive into a staple that we all know, we all probably love, digging deeper into how being able to understand consumers allows us to reimagine and innovate banana bread into something new that people now crave. So how can we understand consumers? At Tastewise, we're using AI to tap into billions of food and beverage conversations on social media, as well as insights from recipes and food service menus, which really gives us a full 360-degree view of the world of consumption. So it really gives us that comprehensive view of what consumers truly care about in real time, which is what we're going to explore a little bit more today. So let's dive into the world of snacking and what it means for today's consumers. Tastewise data shows that snacking, whether it be sweet or savory, accounts for almost 8.5% of all food and beverage conversations in the US. Now, there's a lot of conversations, and 8.5% is a lot of it. And we're actually seeing this also grow year over year by almost 6%, and we don't envision this slowing down anytime soon. So why is snacking growing and experiencing this shift, right? What is happening in this space to drive this consumption? You'll see a slide here with a lot of evolving trends and interesting reasons why, all of which we've segmented into 4 core areas. The first one being mindful health, right? Today's consumers want to snack without compromise. I think we can all probably agree with that. They're prioritizing health, but really don't want to eliminate the experience of enjoyment. We're seeing this in a surge within mentions around guilt-free positionings, really increasing the attention to nutrients like magnesium and balanced energy, as well as just sharp rise by 26% in label scrutiny. They want to know, today consumers want to know what's in it, why it matters, and how it really supports their well-being. Secondly, we have indulgence reimagined. So at the same time, indulgence is far from dead. In fact, it's 3 times more common within snacking, and it's being reframed. So consumers are wanting and craving easy on-the-go experiences with versatile formats, right? This is a huge key claim that we're seeing amongst consumers, and they want these indulgent moments to feel good physically as well as emotionally. It's led by a lot of experiences today. Think of it as mindful treating, being simple, satisfying, and suitable for modern lifestyles, people on the go today. Thirdly, elevated expectations, right? Snackers today are looking for more premium experiences. It's no longer just a pack of potato chips or a piece of fruit on the go. It's really kind of products now that feel more gourmet and artisan and are rooted in that functionality element to it as well, like healthy fats and proteins. And flavor is no longer an afterthought, right? It's a top priority for consumers today. There's a 56% surge in bold, complex flavors, and taste innovation is trending right now across zesty, earthy, sweet, and spicy territories across all of snacking. And then finally, we have playful discovery. So finally, we're seeing this wave of creative exploration. Snacking is becoming trend forward. It's more playful. Think more adventurous flavors, unexpected formats, and sociably shareable moments. Think of the charcuterie boards. Consumers are now choosing these snacks that really excite them and not just feed them. So this shift is really reflecting how snacking today is experience driven, health minded, and flavor first. It's a space really where functionality and creativity really can meet. So where do almonds come into this? Well, almonds are perfectly positioned to lead the way in the snacking space. They're experience driven. So with their versatility and natural appeal, Almonds also can support that more gourmet and premium and adventurous formats, making them a fit for those elevated, indulgent moments. They're health forward, right? Almonds are heavily tied to healthy fats, magnesium, and really low processed lifestyles, meeting the demand for functional, less processed options when it comes to snacking. And then there's flavor first, right? Zesty, sweet and sour, nutty, and complex profiles are all on the rise. And almond is a hero ingredient that provides the opportunity for bold flavor innovation that consumers are after. We're seeing increased consumer desire for snacks that feel indulgent, but deliver on flavor and wellness, and almonds really checking as the perfect snack. So let's get specific, right? What are some of these key core snacking habits that are heavily related to almonds? So the first one is almonds are mentioned 3 times more often for on-the-go use compared to any other sweet and savory snack. So in the category of snacking, almonds are mentioned 3 times more often. There's a very high relevancy there. Same with convenience, right? There's a 2.6 times more association with almonds compared to the overall snacking category. Almonds have that relevancy and that association with that convenience on the go lifestyle. An indulgent is 1.6 times more percent associated with almonds compared to the overall snacking category. So what does this mean overall? This means that these core claims of convenience, on the go, and indulgent are very well aligned and important to consumers who are snacking every day, but also to general almond consumption, really making it the perfect pair. And as you can see here, almond snacking innovation is being shaped by clear consumer priorities. Everything that we've kind of already mentioned, but highlighting again the importance of on-the-go formats, convenience, nutrient-rich ingredients with versatile applications, as well as premium experiences are all what consumers are craving today. I think what's exciting is how almonds just naturally meet all these demands in sweet, savory, and functional snacking, which we're seeing right now across social, as well as menu trends as well. So as highlighted before, a key consumer demand is bold, indulgent, playful flavors. What we're going to see here is a life cycle of a lot of flavors that are being consumed with almonds. And they're evolving with bold flavor innovation that really bridges that gap between health, indulgence, and experience. So we got sweet pairings like honey cinnamon that deliver satisfaction with a guilt-free appeal. We have more trend forward options like matcha and chocolate pistachio that cater to more adventurous consumers. And then we have savory blends, La and miso caramel, which elevate that almond into more of that premium artisan territory. And then we have even playful combos like sweet and spicy, really reflecting the demand for more complex flavors. So really, ultimately, what we're seeing here is that almonds are the perfect hero ingredient to meet the consumer demand when it comes to that bold, indulgent, experiential flavor offering. And speaking of on innovation, actually using Tastewise solution, the generative AI, one of our capabilities, we're actually able to understand and use all these consumer trends and insights and flavors to generate new concepts to incorporate the almond as the hero ingredient. And here are just 2 examples. We've got a salty almond granola balancing that salty texture with the granola. As well as an almond summer pavlova, right? Both are concepts that meet many of the consumer needs today and are growing year over year with interest amongst consumers. So let's dive into almond ingredients within the world of snacking, starting with almond flour. Almond flour is firmly securing its place in modern day snacking, mainly thanks to its unique balance of flavor and function. It's mentioned 5 times more. It does thrive in its versatile formats, the likes of cookies, crackers, and bars, some of which you can see today that are items on the shelf that I'm sure we've all seen. And consumers are viewing it as a wellness magnet, right? It's got that strong link to health, high protein, and it's a powerhouse for low carb, grain-free, and sugar-free lifestyles. It's also anchoring the clean eating trend whilst also keeping indulgent in guilt-free appeal. And ultimately, almond flour is redefining what better for you indulgence can actually look like. Another almond product that stands out in the market today is almond butter. So almond butter continues to surge. We're seeing it grow drastically within the US snacking category. And it's really driven by its strong health associations with the protein, healthy fats, and the vegan lifestyle. It's riding the wave of fast growing trends like clean energy, sugar reduction, and high protein living. And its versatility shines across many different formats, fueling energy bites, protein bars, and flapjacks, which are actually seeing a 50% growth in these areas today. Ultimately, almond butter is redefining functional indulgence, right? Clean label, plant powered ingredient, delivering sustained energy and a better for you appeal. So I think as we can understand from the last few slides what we've seen, almond butter and almond flour are truly a powerhouse duo for smart snacking, right? They're able to combine that indulgence with real true functionality that consumers are craving, right? These consumers see them as healthy, protein rich, and aligned with lifestyle needs like low carb or grain free. And together they can create snacks that deliver on taste, wellness, and satisfaction without the compromise. It's the perfect blend of craveability and functional health. And one format where we see these ingredients shine is in banana bread, a nostalgic, comfort-driven category, which is now undergoing a transformation, which we'll explore now. So banana bread, what's happening in the world of banana bread today? Well, we've actually seen that it's been growing on menus by 35% year over year. And this really highlights and indicates to us an ongoing consumer desire for this classic, signaling a clear opportunity for innovation that refreshes its relevance in today's market. Consumers today are drawn to snackable, cozy, indulgent experiences, with the preferences leaning towards moist, creamy textures and convenient mini formats, all of which banana bread can provide. So banana bread's getting a bit of a makeover. It's evolving in form and function in many of the US consumers' eyes. Consumers, again, are gravitating more towards convenience and snackable formats, really indicating a shift towards that grab-and-go indulgence that fits flexible, on-the-move lifestyles. And these growing needs really do make a strong case for banana bread snacking innovation. It's offering rich flavor in compact portions, tailored for the modern snacking moments today. So where do almond butter and almond flour come into this? So banana bread's just getting a better for you makeover, and almond butter and almond flour are leading the charge for this. Almond butter brings that cozy, creamy indulgence, while almond flour is really adding that nutritional value and rich texture that wellness seekers are loving. Together, they're turning a nostalgic comfort food into a modern premium snack that's both feeling good, but also functional, and meeting all the demands of what consumers want today in their snacking experiences. So you'll see these insights brought to life.
Hello, thank you so much. First of all, Lauren, can you give me a thumbs up to make sure that I'm audible? The audio on yours was cutting out a little bit from time to time, and I want to make sure that there's no lag on my end.
Should be.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Awesome, thank you. I just wanted to check with the technology. Hi, RCA friends. I'm Chef Jill Houk of Culinary Culture, and I want to thank the Almond Board of California for inviting me to do a demonstration with some of my favorite ingredients featuring 3 forms of almonds. The first 15 registrants should have received a goodie box by this time, or in the next, I would say, hour or so, that contains 6 of the almond butter stuffed banana bread bites. There's going to be a recipe card with a QR code to give you the recipe for the formulation that we're demonstrating today, as well as gives you some almond formulation tips. But if you were not in the first 15 to register, don't worry about it. We're going to provide you with the recipe card as well as almond tips. And then everybody is going to receive a link to this presentation so that you can refer back to it as you're doing your formulating. So as Lauren said, there are a number of different traits that snackers are going for, consumers are going for when they are selecting their snacks. And culinary culture really keyed in on those when thinking about doing a reformulation of popular banana bread into a snack. And the first is better for you. So if you think about consumers are now trying to not only meet their snacking needs in terms of how something is going to be rich and satisfying, but they want to make sure that what they're snacking isn't going to sabotage the rest of the way that they eat. And so by using almond flour and almond butter, we're able to change up the nutrition in a classic snack to make it something that is more healthful while still feeling like you've got your, snack itch scratched at that point in time. And a little bit later on in the presentation, we'll go through some nutrition facts panels to talk about what a typical banana nut muffin would be versus the remade, re-envisioned almond butter stuffed banana bread bites. This is also a really playful recipe. So banana bread, super popular during the pandemic. It may also have been something that you grew up with. Banana nut muffins are constantly in the top 5 muffins selected by consumers. So it's really a nostalgic and delicious and crave-worthy taste. And so that was part of the reason that we picked this as an application to showcase the power of almonds in terms of almond butter, almond flour, and chopped almonds. In addition, this really does feel like a super indulgent snack. So between the moist texture of the cake in the bites themselves to the almond butter that's in the filling, which is so rich and creamy, you really get this satisfying snacking feeling as you're eating. In addition, the nutrition helps with satiation. So not only are consumers feeling indulged, but they also are not feeling like they indulged, but at what cost? And then finally, it's in a convenient format. So we have small bites, which are very on trends. Anybody who went to Expo West sees that snacks are shrinking down so that they can be transported anywhere. And these are just a great snack so that you can tuck them into your laptop bag. You can send them with your kids in a backpack. You can take them to a friend for a little snack, or you can have an on-the-go breakfast. So we're really trading in on convenience. And what's lovely about this recipe is, although we formulated against these 4 pillars, you can decide what is important for you and the consumers that you address. So if you're using almond flour, you can think of a different day part, maybe a different nutritional profile, or a different consumer altogether. And you can even change up the format. So this application is going to work really well if you flex into something like a savory muffin, or if you are looking to put an energy ball or an energy bar together. So let's go ahead and get started with the recipe. First, we're going to start with the batter itself. And the first ingredient is oat flour. I've chosen oat flour for a couple of different reasons. First of all, almond flour is a rock star, and it's even better with a supporting cast. So oat can help with texture and with fiber, and really build the texture that you're looking for in a muffin-like consistency. This is a gluten-free application, but you could change this up to make the bites however you like. So you could use whole wheat flour, you could use all-purpose flour. If you wanted to go completely grain-free, you could use a green banana flour or a coconut flour. And then I'm going to stir in almond flour. What I have here is I have blanched almond flour, meaning that the almonds have had the skin removed. And the reason why I selected that is because it's going to have the most neutral appearance. It's light yellow in color, and it is also going to behave as closely like AP flour. You could get different types of almond flour. So I also love to work with whole almond flour that's going to have little flecks of the almond skin in there that lends a beautiful visual appeal. You could have defatted almond flour. This flour here has the original fat in it, which is great for quick breads. You have a nice structure, a nice mouthfeel. But if you wanted to use defatted almond flour in something where you're adding a lot of fat into the application or a lot of moisture into the application, defatted almond flour is really great for that. And that's made by pressing the oil out of the almonds and leaving behind something that has a slightly drier texture. And the bonus on that is you also get lovely almond oil with that. So we're gonna stir these two together. And then I'm adding in some leavening ingredients here. So we've got baking soda, baking powder, a little bit of sea salt to bring up the flavor, and then some cinnamon from Vietnam. As Lauren mentioned, cinnamon is a trending ingredient, especially Vietnamese cinnamon. You could also put in whatever blend of spices you're looking for. So this would be great with a typical pumpkin spice blend. It'd be great with a chai masala blend, or even something like matcha and a botanical to bring this all together. Okay, now we're going to work with our wet ingredients. Now, when you're formulating with almond flour, one thing to recognize is the moisture absorption is not one-to-one for AP flour. And so as you're starting to formulate, start by using slightly less moisture and then increasing it until you get the texture that you want. And of course, some of that is going to be dependent on what other ingredients are in the application. So for example, we have a lot of oat flour in here, which does absorb moisture, and also what type of almond flour you're using. So defatted almond flour will absorb more moisture. Regular almond flour, blanched almond flour will absorb less moisture, and toasted almond flour, which is one of my favorite ingredients to work with, absorbs a lot of flour. So it's been lightly toasted. It has a wonderful nutty color as well as taste, and it really adds that something extra to an application. So what I have here is I've got banana puree. If you are getting this from your supplier, you'll want to make sure that you defrost this before you start the application so that it doesn't affect bake time. I'm doing this just as a benchtop application, so I took a ripe banana and mashed it up. And I'm putting in some whole egg. One thing to note is if you are creating a keto application and you don't want any kind of grains, or you want to really play with the ratio of fat to carbohydrates to protein, you could increase the egg substantially, get rid of all of the oat flour, and just have an almond flour application. And that's really going to give you that good hit of healthy fats, lots of protein, and reduced carbohydrates. I'm adding in my sweetener now. Let's see, it's hard to see against a black jacket. This is date syrup. And one of the reasons why I selected date syrup is because with a fruit application, it's always nice to use a fruit sweetener. So you get a little bit of that health halo. I think consumers really like to see something like date syrup on an ingredient deck. Also, dates are humectant, so they can help retain the moisture in these almond butter stuffed banana bread bites. Additional to that, I always feel like a sweetener that is either date or maple or honey that has other flavors going on with it will make it so that you don't have to use as much sweetener to get the sweetness impact. And so I really love that. I'm adding in a little bit of canola oil here. As I've mentioned before, this is a very versatile recipe. And so if you are cooking for a consumer base that is avoiding seed oil, you can of course substitute the oil. Almond oil is perfect in this application, but you could also put in coconut oil, or you could put in a refined olive oil. And then finally, I'm just adding in some vanilla to enhance all of the flavors, bring everything together. And then finally, what we're going to do is we will blend our dry ingredients into the wet. As I'm doing this, Mia, would you mind bringing up the slide on nutrition? So by using almond ingredients, I've really done something that is great for consumers who are watching labels when they're selecting snacks. What I took a look at here went out and found your typical banana nut muffin. And again, banana nut muffins are a very common muffin, super beloved. And I found one that had about the same number of calories as a portion of the almond butter stuffed banana bread bites. So it's 180 calories, really great snack size, holds you over between breakfast and lunch or lunch and dinner. But let's notice some key differences and what almonds are going to bring to a nutritional factor from an ingredient standpoint. So you can see that for 180 calories, there are 3 almonds butter stuffed banana bread bites as a portion versus 1 banana muffin or banana cupcake. And although these are slightly smaller per piece than the banana muffin is, the total portion size is about 25 to 30% higher. So you're getting more food for fewer calories. Not only that, it is the nature of those calories that are going to help with snackers who are looking for that better for you indulgence. So you can see that the protein is 5 grams versus 2 grams, and that we have 3 grams of fiber instead of 0 grams of fiber. And if you take a look at the sugar in the NFP, you'll see that we were able to substantially reduce the sugar and cut the added sugar in half. So if you're making a case for consumers who are looking to really pay attention to how they're fueling themselves while still enjoying a delicious snack, almonds are the key here, because what they're bringing is healthy fats, protein, which is on everybody's mind, fiber, and magnesium. Thanks, Mia. Okay, now we're going to make the filling for these muffins. Because I am working benchtop, I'm using some ingredients that you would not typically use in a lab or in a plant. So I'm starting here with dates. So dates are a part of this filling. Again, it's going to add some fiber, a lot of taste, and this and the bananas are really only the ingredients that are bringing sweetness into the application. I'm going to cover these with boiling water for about 10 minutes to let them soften, but I've done that in advance, and I instead have some date paste. So after you let these soak, you're going to blend them. You can also get a commercial date paste, and like the date that is in the batter, this is going to bring a complex sweetness that consumers can't quite put their finger on. It's going to be very intriguing and indulgent. Next, I'm putting in some more mashed bananas. So we've got bananas in both parts of this application, as well as the star of the show. So you cannot have almond butter stuffed banana bread bites without almond butter. And I'm going to talk through a number of different types of almond butter and why I selected the one I did. So I have blanched, smooth almond butter here. This is made with almonds that have had the skin removed. They're not toasted. They're simply ground. So all of the oil is retained in here. It's got a luscious flavor. What I love about formulating with a blanched almond butter is it's very neutral. it gives you that blank slate to layer flavors on. So if you're using something subtle like a lavender, or if you're using like orange blossom water or vanilla even, those flavors really shine and the almond sinks to the background. We also have a couple of other different types of almond butters here. This one is a toasted blanched almond butter that is smooth. So the almonds have had the skin removed, they have been lightly toasted, and then they've been ground into a smooth and creamy consistency. And what's really cool about toasted almond butter is that you can call the roast. So by working with your almond supplier, you can say whether you would like something light roasted to almost roasted as dark as coffee. And this is going to bring different delicious elements to your formulation. So if you wanted an almond butter that was a little bit more assertive, maybe this is in a pastry where it's the star of the show, you would want a toasted almond butter. Now, from a visual standpoint, here is a whole almond butter where the almonds have been ground and toasted. So you're going to see tiny flecks of the almond skin in here. This is really great in a sandwich cookie, in snack crackers, anywhere where you want to see the skin of the almond or have that different visual appeal. And last but certainly not least, although this isn't going to be in my house for very long because it's so delicious, is toasted crunchy almonds butter. The skins have been removed from the almonds, they've been roasted whole, and then they've been pulsed into an almond butter. So you still have texture, you still have crunch. This could also be a rock star filling. So if I wanted to have a less toothsome muffin and a heartier filling, I would just put this straight in there. In this case, I am, again, using blanched almond butter that is unroasted. And part of the reason why is so that I would have more of a color contrast between the almond butter in the filling and the almonds, the banana muffins themselves. All right, so what I've done is, if you were doing this in a plant, you could inject the filling right into your muffins after they had baked. Benchtop, I'm doing it a little bit different. I am piping out the filling and then freezing it so that I can later assemble the almonds, the filling with the banana bread bites. So what I've got here is just, you pipe these out. They're about dime sized, about 4 grams each. And they set up really nicely in the freezer. But instead of watching me pipe these out through the magic of the RCA, we have the fillings already piped out. Okay, now we can go ahead and assemble these bites. I have mini muffin pan here. You could use liners. This has some pan spray. If you're baking on the line, you can have an airlift system that is going to pull the muffins out after they bake. And I have my oven going. So one thing I do want to note is when you're baking with almond products, you're going to want to lower the temperature a little bit. So I'm baking at 325. You're also going to not want to use convection. You don't want excess heating or browning. Almonds do contain a lot of healthy oil, and as a result of that, they cook very quickly, but they can also burn. We all know this. We have all toasted some nuts in the oven and forgotten about them. And so that's one thing to pay attention to as you are formulating with almond flour, is just make sure that that temperature stays moderate and that you reduce the cook time. So I'm filling these muffin tins with about quarter of the way with the batter itself. And back to the batter. This batter, again, endlessly versatile. I like to put some cocoa powder in it sometimes. If we were doing one of the riffs that Lauren mentioned, which is chocolate and pistachio, You could stud the batter itself with some chocolate chips. You could create a pistachio and almond filling, which would be super lovely. Again, you can mix up different flours. You could even put in different types of fruits with the banana. I love banana and berry, or if I'm doing something more tropical, you could do banana and some mango. And now what I'm doing is just lifting in the filling and setting it in the center of the banana bread bites. They'll stay right there. Or again, if you are baking in a plant, this would be injection. And we're going to see a little contrast here, but as these bake, you're going to see more of a contrast. And then we're just going to finish off by topping with a little bit more of the batter. I wish you guys could smell my kitchen. It smells absolutely amazing. Between the almonds, the vanilla, the cinnamon, just really nice. The dates even have a really nice sweet flavor. Okay, and then I'm going to top these with chopped almonds. So I have chopped blanched almonds. Again, I like to use blanched almonds here because they're going to give a really nice color contrast. So we have a darker muffin with a lighter, smaller piece of almonds on there. I like to make sure that there's this proportional size. We have some piece identity on top so that consumers know that this is an almond product. There are also just endless ways to top these. One way is, if you wanted to create something that is a little bit more dramatic, is to put a whole almond on. Sort of reminds me of almond cookies that you might have gotten back in the day at your local Szechuan restaurant, where you have this like beautiful cookie and a whole blanched almond on it. I think that's really special if you are working with a small format like a mini muffin. You could put a whole skin on almond. You could put some sliced almonds. Sliced almonds are lovely because they've got that creamy white center and then the dark skin on the outside. Or you could show some of the other ingredients. So a little sliver of date, a dried banana chip, some spices. You could even put spiced almonds on here. And I think that that would be really great. So if you had, you know, a cinnamon dusted almond on top of the almond butter stuffed banana bread bites, I think you've got a dynamite combination there. So I'm just going to pop these into the oven. Again, this is 325 so that we have a nice moderate bake. And again, through the magic of the RCA, we have our completed muffins here. They bake off in about 12 minutes, and then you're going to want them to cool on a rack. They do last without any kind of refrigeration up to about a week. For those of you who have received your boxes, but you're not sure if you're going to eat them all today, feel free to wrap and freeze them, and they will stay in your freezer safely for up to 3 months. And what I love about this is, again, we've got this beautiful color of the batter itself. Some of the blanched almonds really pop on top. And then I'm breaking into this indulgent creamy texture, and you see the banana, the almond butter stuffing inside. So thank you so much.
Wow, I can't wait to try some of those. I'm definitely going to be making that recipe this weekend, I think. But no, to summarize then and wrap up some final takeaways before we go to the QA. Kind of just really want to highlight some kind of key things that we've discussed.
I think we may have lost Lauren.
I think so. Well, Jill, Chef Jill, why don't you just jump in and do your key takeaway?
That sounds great, Charisse. Thanks so much. I always like to say that your applications are as good as your ingredients are. And when you're formulating with something like almonds from California, you can't go wrong. What's nice about formulating with almonds is that you can meet snackers' desire for indulgent, playful snacks while still meeting their dietary needs. And it's all a matter of communicating with your almond supplier to pick the ingredients that are perfect for your application. So we had three very versatile ingredients here. We had almond flour, almond butter, and then almonds that are used as a garnish. For the flour, you can get blanched or skin on. You can get defatted or with all of the fat remaining. You can get a rainbow of colors for the almond butter, as well as skin on, crunchy or smooth. And then for garnishes, the sky's the limit. Anything from sliced and slivered almonds to skin on almonds to whole almonds, even something like a Marcona almond or an almond that has been tossed in spices to really give it that extra appeal.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm sure if Lauren were on, she would say that definitely consumer snacking habits are evolving towards that balance and experience. We're seeing it. I think she did an excellent job of showing you the consumer trends through snacking, and then just talking about all the versatile solutions that we have especially with almond butter and almond flour. And I'm totally enjoying that myself as a vegan. There's so many options, and for me to use almonds in the various forms. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Chef Jill. Thank you to Lauren, wherever you may be at this time. Sorry that she kind of faded out. But thank you all for joining us today. And for the first 15 that received the package, I hope you really are enjoying it. So we'll open it up for some questions. If anyone has questions, definitely add them to the chat, and we would love to respond to those. And if not, what I can do, we get this question all the time, so I can pose this question to Chef Jill. What are some of the common misconceptions about using almonds in baking that you would like to clarify? And I see that we have you here, Lauren, and we will get some questions back to you, but I get this all the time at a booth. It's like, oh, we can't do this or we can't do that. But what are some of the misconceptions in terms of when you're baking? And you did go through the different types of forms, the different types of flours and so forth. But what are some of the misconceptions that you see most of the time that you can clarify?
Thanks, Charisse. I think the biggest one is that, you're not going to get the same kind of rise, or you may not have the same flavor if you're using AP flour. And in actuality, there's no gluten in almonds. And so you are going to get a slightly different texture and a different rise, but it doesn't mean it's undesirable. So anybody who's eating these almond butter stuffed banana bread bites can tell that it has a really lovely crumb. I'm going to try to get this right up on the the camera, where you can see that we have lovely air pockets. It is not like overly dense and chewy. Also, almonds, depending on how toasted it is or whether you have skin on, is one of those ingredients that really just integrates seamlessly with other ingredients. Untoasted almonds are, a blank canvas, so they bring very little almond bite. Also, it's not gritty. I think that a lot of formulators think that when they're working with almonds that they're going to get something that is a bag of almonds and they're going to have to process it themselves. In actuality, almond growers and processors have figured out formats that are so easy for formulation and so convenient. So it's just a matter of really talking to your supplier of almonds from California, asking them what they have, and then using tips that are provided by the Almonds Board.
Awesome. And I know that we have Lauren back, but I just want to pivot and piggyback on that. You said, you talked about what you can do and the misconceptions, but in terms of almond flour specifically, can you just elaborate on the different types of almond flour? I know we have defatted almond flour, and why did you choose to use the flour that you went with today?
Oh, that's such a great question. Okay, so I'll go through the almond flour primer. Almonds start off, they've got skin on. When you take the skin off, they're called blanched almonds. And those blanched almonds can then just get ground into flour. There's a good amount of fat that's in that flour. And so what that is it's great for applications like quick breads or a gluten-free flour. I actually think that almond flour is perfect to put into your gluten-free blends. Oftentimes a gluten-free blend is going to have like some cornstarch in there, some xanthan gum, drier ingredients. And so by bringing in an almond flour that still has some fat in it, you're going to have this nice luxurious texture to work with for breads and crackers and cakes and so forth. A little bit less processed, I guess, would be skin on almond flour, but it's also used less commonly because it does have the flecks of skin. It's sort of like what whole wheat would be to AP flour. So you're going to have a little bit more texture to it, definitely some more color, some more toothsomeness, but it is absolutely beautiful because it is sunny yellow with little flecks of golden brown in there and a dream to work with. Both of these flours can be as is, so with the fat content that is typically in an almond is going to be in the flour itself, or they can be defatted. And the defatting process is just a matter of squeezing the ground almonds to take some of the almond oil out and have that as a separate ingredient, while what remains is ground almond where the fat has been reduced. That's the flour that you're going to want to use if you need a lot of moisture absorption. So if you have an ingredient that's liquid, that really is a flavor carrier, you're going to want to use defatted almond flour so that your application can absorb more of that liquid. But in a case here where I was reducing oil that I was adding, bananas are not necessarily a super wet ingredient. I used almond flour that had fat in it. And then finally, you can have toasted almond flour. Anything that you can do to an almond, you can do in the flour form. So yeah, this is really great in like a cracker where you're going to get that nutty, toasty, almondy flavor that very much shines through because the almond flour itself has been toasted. And, I love to make pasta with a little bit of toasted almond flour in there. It adds a little bit of intrigue. It almost tastes like nutmeg.
Okay, thank you, Chef Jill. And I know we have Lauren back really quickly. We have a couple of minutes. Lauren, want to allow you to give a summary of sort, but I also have a question, just about, is there a specific type of almond that consumers are buying when they're snacking? It just any specific type? Are they buying more raw, flavored, sliced? What are you seeing? If you can share that with us, that would be helpful.
Yeah, we're seeing an absolute shift in the market today. There's so many different formats, which I just think speaks to almonds versatility. Everything from on the go almonds with all the new funky flavors that we're seeing, right? That's where innovation is coming from there. One thing that we are starting to see here at Tastewise specifically, and we're going to be starting to see a lot more on the shelves, is actually almond oil, and I think that's both in in the culinary world, but also in the wider world, especially with the conversations that are happening today around oils and seed oils. It's a huge market, and that's really kind of where we're seeing trends within almonds right now that are drastically growing. But I mean, as we showed today, right? The thing with almonds is it's so versatile. So we're seeing it in many different applications, in many different formats on the shelves, even the way in which consumers are using it at home and on recipes. It really is the perfect ingredient for really anything across all the categories.
And so we have a lot of questions coming in for you, Lauren. I don't know that we'll get to all of them. I will try to skip through, but I'm seeing some questions about fermented almonds, and they're trending. So can you speak to that at all in terms of the trends that you're seeing with fermented almonds?
I'll be honest, I don't want to lie to you. I don't know the exact numbers on fermented almonds, but I will definitely find out and follow up on that. But what I can say is, as a preparation method, and even as a kind of flavor profile that it does have, it is growing. That is on a trend. It has been for the last, I think, almost 2 years. If we look at Tastewise data, I think what we've highlighted already is that versatility of almonds. I think it plays into a lot of these trends that are happening. I mean, I've never tried fermented almonds. I'll definitely have to add those to my list. But the ways in which the trends are going, I think what is great for innovation and what is great for the world of almonds is looking at, okay, what is trending? Is it a certain preparation method? Is it a certain category? And then actually incorporating almonds into that, because it is that versatile. It does fit into a lot of these trends that we're seeing, fermentation being one of them.
Charisse, can
Well,
I
I would
hop
say,
in here with my experience with
yes,
fermented
one
almonds?
second, absolutely. And I
Sure.
would say if you attend Expo West, there were a lot of different products that were all fermented, lots of them fermented, including some fermented almonds. But please take it away, Chef Jill.
Did you taste them when you were there? Because they are delicious. It tastes
I
like,
did. They were fantastic.
yeah,
Daily
they're
Crunch
like
and some of the others, they
sourdough
were absolutely fantastic.
and a dream to like formulate with. So good.
Okay. I have another question for Lauren about almonds growth application and and how does almonds growth and nutrition stack up against other nuts? I think that's a good one. We get that all the time. I mean, before you answer, Lauren, I say that we're all cousins. You know, we're all family. We're nuts. But from your experience with Tastewise, how do almonds stack up from a nutrition standpoint against some of the other nuts?
Mhm. From a nutrition standpoint, we can see that consumers are talking about it in the context of that high protein, of that versatility, of certain kind of claims that we've highlighted today. So it very much is. In terms of kind of where it also stacks up against other nuts and what we're seeing in the data, almonds is one of those that if we look at the data, it's mature. Right, it holds a huge. I think it's the second most popular nut amongst consumers. And again, this is consumer conversations. However, what we are seeing is, again, kind of the innovation, the way in which consumers are using almonds is really kind of what's spearheading, I think, innovation and spearheading that consumption. The fact that there's so many different ways to use it. We're seeing it in, typically more sweet applications, but, then we moved into more savory applications, more snacking, individual formats, really is that versatility. But I mean, in terms of the nutritional claims, I all we're seeing is that the consumers are highly correlating almonds above other nuts when it comes to the likes of a high protein, low processed diet. They're two of the claims that really stand out to us here, based on what consumers are speaking about. And I'm sure there's a lot more. I just don't know there's a lot of insights we have in Tastewise, so I'll definitely be able to share a dashboard with all the insights if anyone's interested in taking a look at that, where they could dig a little bit deeper into those health claims.
Well, again, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Chef Jill. I really hope that you enjoyed the presentation, that you learned about almonds in all the various forms, our versatility. We say that our almond versatility is a superpower. It's our powerhouse ingredient. So we will share this recording with you. We can share the deck with you as well. And we can't wait to see what you come up with in terms of your own innovation. So thank you to RCA. I don't know if some of you saw us at the booth there. We were there earlier this year at RCA. And if you will be at IFT, please come and visit us. But thank you guys again, and we will share this information with you.
Thank you, Charisse. Thank you, Chef Jill. Thank you, Lauren, very much. You all will see this recording on the Learning Library. For those of you that may not be members, feel free to email me. You should have gotten I am Anna Chile. I'm under RCA right now, but you should have gotten the invites from me as well. We will share, like Charisse said, we can share the PowerPoint as well as any other supporting material and whatnot. So again, thank you to the Almond Board of California and Tastewise for this call.
Thank you so much, guys.